The Chosen, Chaim, Potok. Originally written in 1967. The author was born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and his home country is the United States. Setting: Brooklyn, New York, including the time of the end of the Second World War, 1945, and the formation of Israel, 1947. This book spans 6 years between 1944 to 1950. A quote from the book describing the settings. The sidewalks of Williamsburg were cracked squares of cement, the streets paved with asphalt that softened in the stifling summers and broke apart into potholes in the bitter winters. Many of the houses were brownstones, set tightly together, none taller than 3 or 4 stories. In these houses lived Jews, Irish, Germans, and some Spanish Civil War refugee families that had fled the new Franco regime before the onset of the Second World War. The historical context of this book is the story occurs between 1944 and 1950. Some events that occurred during this book are World War II, the formation of the Jewish state, the Holocaust, and D-Day. A passage about D-Day in the book is it the invasion of Europe, Mr. Savo? I asked him eagerly. I was feeling excited and a little tense, and I wished the people who were cheering would be quiet. He looked down at me. It's D-Day, Bobby boy. We're clapping them good. Passage about the Holocaust. I just couldn't grasp it. The numbers of Jews slaughtered had gone from 1 million to 3 million to 4 million, and almost every article we read said that the last count was still incomplete. The final number would probably reach 6 million. I couldn't begin to imagine 6 million of my people murdered. A quote about the formation of Israel. We wept quite openly that Friday in the second week of May when Israel was born. And on my way to the synagogue the next morning, I saw the newspaper headlines announcing the birth of the Jewish state. The conflict and theme of the story. Potok's The Chosen illustrates the friendship of two boys with different religious views to convey a tone of warmth, to illustrate the idea that despite their distinct religious views, the power of friendship can surpass most hardships. The conflict proven throughout the novel presents itself as religious difference. When Reuven befriends Danny, Mr. Malter warns his son of the very prominent occurrence that he may be rejected at some point due to his religion. Later in the novel, Danny's father excommunicates Reuven from the Saunders family, plunging Reuven into a form of depression. The reading difficulty of The Chosen. Jewish terms are spread throughout the text. While it is not a necessity to know any of them beforehand, it will help the reader understand the text more clearly. The text contains 1 or 2 passages that may not interest the reader very much and cause their perception of the book to have a more negative feeling. A text of interest. Reuven, the master of the universe blessed me with a brilliant son, and he cursed me with all the problems of raising him. Ah, what it is to have a brilliant son. Not a smart son, Reuven, but a brilliant son. A Daniel, a boy with a mind like a jewel. Ah, what a curse it is. What an anguish it is to have a Daniel, whose mind is like a pearl, like a sun. I went away and cried to the master of the universe, what have you done to me? A mind like this I need for a son, a heart I need for a son, a soul I need for a son, compassion I want for my son. Righteousness, mercy, strength, to suffer and carry pain, that is what I want from my son, not a mind without a soul. This passage interests us because it very nicely sums up why Reb Saunders, the antagonist of the story, raises Danny the way he did. The author weaves the plot through a fine web of character development and symbolism to create the final climax to why Danny became who he was, a child raised in silence. Enjoyment of the book. The two main characters grow up in different environments. As the text progresses, the reader can see the development of the two young men and their friendship. At one point, the boys are not allowed to speak to each other, and the reader is able to perceive the bond and effect the boys have on each other. Potok gives the reader fine examples of dynamic main characters. Some cautions I advise to other readers is that if you are not too partial to baseball, the beginning may be hard to enjoy, which may alter your overall experience. Also, if you do not prefer the religion of Judaism, you may not fully understand some references being made. Finally, the choices of some characters participate in may leave you sad and distraught.